This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
(1:15 p.m.) This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Geethanjali Ramanayaka. The headlines. Army Commander requests the public to act in a more responsible manner during the forthcoming weekend vaccination. Teachers and principals are engaged in a massive strike. It has been warned that there may be a fourth wave of COVID if people do not follow health guidelines. International support is to be obtained to investigate the damage caused by the Express Pearl vessel. News from overseas: China flood terror as train carriage submerged. Local news in detail. The stocks of corona eradication vaccines are being received to the country to implement the vaccination program covering all districts in the island. Chairman of the State Pharmaceutical Corporation, Specialist Dr. Prasanna Gunasena, told the SLBC that 90,000 of Sinopharm vaccines are to be received. He further said that people should act according to the health guidelines. State Minister Professor Channa Jayasumana said Sri Lanka has received 2 million more doses of Sinopharm vaccines from China. 2 flights chartered by the national carrier Sri Lanka Airlines carrying the vaccine consignment touched down at the Bandaranaike International Airport this morning. The new batch of vaccines purchased by the State Pharmaceuticals Corporation brings the total amount of Sinopharm jabs received by Sri Lanka to 9.1 million. According to the State Minister, 400,000 of these coronavirus jabs will be rolled out in the Kurunegala district. Army Commander General Shavendra Silva said that the aim of the President is to provide vaccines to the relevant age groups of the Colombo district before the end of this month. He also requested the public to act in a more responsible manner during the forthcoming weekend vaccination program. The teachers and principals are engaged in a massive strike, refraining from online teaching, and today is the 11th day. They engaged in this strike based on several demands, including their salary anomalies. The government has requested the trade unions to solve their problems through discussions. Parents said that the protests and trade union action is not fair. The chief incumbent of the Bellanwela Rajamaha Viharaya, Dhammaratna Thera, said that this is not the time to conduct protest campaigns as the country is facing a COVID threat. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
A giant interest rate for your fixed deposit that you deposit this month. Call 0718 800 999.
Deputy Health Services Director General Specialist Dr. Hemantha Herath said that there may be a risk of creating a fourth wave of corona in the future if people act violating the health guidelines. He also stated that people should not use the easing of travel restrictions improperly. All should act in a very responsible manner at this moment. He requested the people to be at home during the coming weekend vaccinations. The first dose of Covishield vaccines has been given to 925,242 persons. The second dose of it has been given to 385,885. Issuing a communique, the Unit of Epidemiology says that 91,992 persons have obtained the Sinopharm vaccine. The first dose of Moderna vaccine has been given to 349,848. Meanwhile, the CID said that a special operation will be conducted for the persons who are propagating false information through social media on the Moderna vaccine. That ends local news.
Now, get your EPF loan information and service details via SMS from HDFC Bank. Wherever you are, being a state and private sector employee, to obtain EPF loan information and service details, just send a SMS mentioning EPF space, name and region to 0718 800 999. HDFC Bank, the bank for your home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
It has been decided to obtain the international support to investigate the damage caused by the Express Pearl vessel to the country. This decision has been taken at a committee meeting of inquiries into this incident. The Marine Protection Authority stated that more attention will be paid on the death of marine life. It has also failed to remove the sinking ship from the territorial waters of the country yet. The company owned by the Express Pearl vessel has notified that measures will be taken to remove the ship from the territorial waters soon. The Ministry of Environment and the Marine Environment Protection Authority is on alert in this regard. The investigation activities relevant to this incident will be continued. That was our main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
In Watchlight, around 500 families in Avisavela are facing many hardships due to the abandonment of the construction work of Velangalla-Nagoda Road. They request the relevant authorities to develop this road soon. This is for the attention of the chairman of Road Development Authority of the Sabaragamuwa province, and that came to you in Watchlight. On to a bulletin of world news in the headlines. China flood terror as train carriage submerged. Number of under 20s in hospital up 50% due to eating disorders. The Japanese Prime Minister to meet dignitaries arriving for Olympic Games. World news in detail. As floodwater crashed through a busy subway station in China on Tuesday, desperate passengers tried to flee while others were swept helplessly off platforms. In one train carriage, water seeped in and rose from ankle to waist to neck height. Panicked commuters stretched upwards to breathe while others lifted shorter people into the shrinking air pocket above. In terrifying videos shared on social media, some passengers can be seen standing on chairs and clinging to the ceiling as the floodwater creeps upwards. The number of young people with eating disorders in England ending up in hospital has risen during the pandemic, a BBC investigation has found. Data from NHS Digital showed the number of under 20s admitted over the past year topped 3,200, nearly 50% higher than in 2019-2020. Hospitals are warning they are running out of beds to care for these patients. Waits for community treatment have lengthened as the number of referrals has increased. One leading children's hospital said it had to resort to putting vulnerable children on general wards where there was no specialist staff to support them. Japan's Prime Minister Suga Yoshihide is set to hold talks with foreign dignitaries visiting Japan for the opening ceremony of the Tokyo Olympic Games. Leaders of about 15 countries and organizations are scheduled to visit Japan for the ceremony. Today, Suga is expected to hold talks with the Mongolian Prime Minister Lavs Anams Rai Oz Ardeen and WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus and meet US First Lady Jill Biden. Back to the headlines of the world news. China flood terror as train carriage submerged. Number of under-20s in hospital up 50% due to eating disorders. The Japanese Prime Minister to meet dignitaries arriving for Olympic Games. That ends World News.
Development News is brought to you by
Quality matters than price. So as an engineer, I recommend Melva RB500. It's made with virgin billets using the latest technology. Melva RB500, number one in Sri Lanka. Truly Sri Lankan.
In development news, a memorandum of understanding was signed yesterday at the Ministry of Environment to set up a factory for value-added products using the Balangoda Kaltota calcite deposit, which is considered to be the best pure calcite deposit in the world. The MOU was signed by the Minister of Environment, Mahinda Amaravira, on behalf of the Ministry and the Postgraduate Institute of Science, University of Peradeniya and GSMB Technical Services, a state-owned company. That was development news.
Development News was brought to you by
Quality matters than price. So as an engineer, I recommend Melva RB500. It's made with virgin billets using the latest technology. Melva RB500, number one in Sri Lanka. Truly Sri Lankan.
In sports news, more than half of Sri Lanka's contingent for the Summer Olympic Games have now arrived at the athletes' village, while the rest of the competitors are due to arrive in the coming few days. Judoka Chamara Dharmavardhana, shuttler Niloka Karnaratna, gymnast Milka Gihani De Silva, shooter Tehani Egodevala and swimmer Anika Gafoor have arrived at the athletes' village during the past few days. Apart from those 5 competitors, 4 more Sri Lankans are due to check in starting from tomorrow. Swimmer Matthew Abesingha is scheduled to leave the US on Saturday and is expected to reach Tokyo on Sunday. On the same day, Matilda Carlson, who became the first ever Sri Lankan to compete in equestrian, the 125-year-old Olympic history, is due here. Chef de Mission Gamini Jayasinghe, who represented Sri Lanka at the Chef de Mission's meeting in Tokyo today, said all competitors, officials and VIPs arriving in Japan will be subjected to a 3-day mandatory bio-bubble. That was sports news.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
Sri Lankan Airlines emerged victorious at the prestigious Asian Leadership Awards 2021 by winning the award for Best in Managing Health at Work in the Asian HR Leadership Awards category. This award officially recognizes and applauds the holistic approach taken by the airline to curtail the outbreak of COVID-19 at the workplace. Sri Lankan Airlines' efforts to ensure the well-being of employees since the onset of the pandemic, whilst maintaining a productive working environment across all operational areas of the airline, were highly commended. That was Business News.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Measures will be taken to upgrade the Kithul cultivation industry in the Mathura district. Plans have been made to conduct a program on Divisional Secretariat Division of the district. The Lanka Industrial Development Board has initiated several measures to develop the industry. The board has also paid attention to provide financial loans for cultivation in order to develop the industry. That was economic news.
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
In the weather report, the Met Department says the showery condition over the southwestern part of the country, particularly in the western slopes of the central hills, is expected to enhance to some extent tomorrow. Showers or thundershowers will occur at times in the western, Sabaragamuwa, central and northwestern provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts. Heavy showers over 100 millimeters can be expected in Sabaragamuwa province and in Nuwara districts. Fairly heavy showers, about 75 millimeters, can be expected in the western province and in Kandy, Galle and Mathura districts. Showers or thundershowers may occur at a few places in Monragala and Ampara districts during the evening or at night. And that was the weather report.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
To end this news broadcast, back to the headlines. Army Commander requests the public to act in a more responsible manner during the forthcoming weekend vaccination. Teachers and principals are engaged in a massive strike. It has been warned that there may be a fourth wave of COVID if people do not follow health guidelines. International support is to be obtained to investigate the damage caused by the Express Pearl vessel. In news from overseas, China flood terror as train carriage submerged. And with that, we end this news broadcast.